So I'm Viv Ainsley, and I'm here to do a little interview with my friend Rhonda, who is the owner and tutor from RMH English Tuition. And the idea of this interview is just to give people a little bit of an insight into Rhonda, because people don't know the real Rhonda. And just by this interview, they're not going to get to know the real Rhonda, but they may pick up one or two little facts that help sort of to break down that little barrier. So, hello, Rhonda.
Hi, babe. How are you?
Hi. So, we've got some questions that we're going to ask. So, the first one is the obvious one, because if people don't know anything about you, so just tell people who is Rhonda.
Rhonda is mum to two grown-up boys. She's an English tutor. She's a children's author and a poet.
And she didn't know it.
And she didn't know it. No, she didn't.
I like that one. I like that. Okay, so people would automatically assume that because you're an English tutor, that your background is in teaching in some way, shape, or form. But that's not the case. So tell us a bit about your background.
When I left school, I went straight into law. Spent 20 really happy years in law. Started at the bottom and then qualified as a legal executive. Thoroughly enjoyed my time there.
So if you enjoyed that so much, why didn't you train to be a solicitor?
I didn't want to appear in court. I mean, I have appeared in court during my working life, but you don't. A legal executive doesn't obviously appear in the same way as a solicitor, and I had no real desire to appear in court.
Okay. So how did you get into tutoring? What led you into that?
I went through a divorce, so I came out of law. Looking after my two boys at home who were both at school. My youngest came home from school one day and said they were wanting volunteers at his school. So I went in and started working one afternoon a week, listening to the children read. And that's how it all started. I then spent 7 years at my son's school, ended up getting qualified whilst I was there. The one afternoon a week I was working became 5 days a week, full time.
Wow.
And I just carried on working voluntary because I loved it so much.
Okay, so I suppose the next natural question is then, how did you get into becoming the tutor that is RMH English Tuition? And why didn't you go back into schools and do the teaching thing within a classroom setting?
Right. Well, after 7 years working voluntary, I still loved it, but I was kind of needing some money. Can't survive off fresh air. I've got bills to pay. So the job centre referred me to a company that they deal with called Ingus, and their help, RMH was formed. They helped me set up everything. All I did was go out and do the work. They set the website up and did all my accounts and tax returns and all the horrible bits that I couldn't deal with.
Nobody wants to deal with.
No. And why tutoring and not a school? That's a very good question, Mark. Basically, I no desire to stand up in front of a class of 30 plus children and teach. I prefer the one-to-one approach. It's much more personal, and I can get to know the child and the family in a far better way than I could trying to get to know 30 children and teach them.
Yeah, I think that sounds fair. So when you were devising how you wanted your business to work, you will have done research into other companies and
Yes.
online tutors and other companies that do the same thing as you. But you're a bit different. So can you explain a little bit about that as well for people?
Well, as I said before, I like to get to know each student individually. I also like to get to know the families. I find out what the children are interested in. Um, a lot of them, for example, come to me and they say, "Oh, I hate reading, I don't like to read," and the parents will say, "I cannot get my child to read." Having done the 7 years voluntary in school, I know why that is. So I give the children reading that's appropriate to their level on things that they are interested in reading, which doesn't happen in every school.
That's really, really interesting. So that means then that you don't have a set teaching plan that fits all children.
That's correct, I don't know. I tailor it to every individual child.
And that works alongside the teaching that they get in school. I assume that because you follow the curriculums.
Yes, totally, yeah, because I'm just here to complement what the schools are teaching them.
Right, okay. So for anybody who thinks that you might be trying to take over from that, that's not what you're doing, is it? You are a complementary service.
Yeah, the reason I actually set my business up, because having worked in schools, I was seeing some children falling through the net and they were struggling in school. No fault of the schools or the teachers in any way, but when they're teaching such large numbers of children,
Yeah.
some of them do end up struggling. You know, it just happens. And that is why I set my business up, to help the children that are struggling.
And that's a lovely ethos. And we've seen some of the reviews that you get through, and I think that proves the point, doesn't it? That working on an individual level and tailoring to that child works, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, it totally works, yes. Um, and that's why I don't want to be to work in a school. I want to do the one-to-one work.
And that's lovely. That's lovely. So, what else do people need to know about Rhonda then? Because all we see is you on Facebook putting your posts, but because it's a business, we don't get to see what's underneath. So let's have a little bit of a delve and
Okay,
find out some of the more interesting things that people might not realise.
okay.
Okay, so music taste. Tell us about what type of music you like.
I like varied music, going back to the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, current stuff, in particular Robbie Williams.
Okay, so I'm smiling because everybody likes a bit of Robbie, um, because he's got such a character and he's got a very very wide um, level of different types of music, doesn't he? He does the pop stuff and he does the rock stuff and he does the swing. So why do you like him so much?
I like most of the albums he's brought out. There was only one album I didn't like, but normally when I listen to music, I'll be like, "Oh, I like that song. I like that song." Normally, I don't have an artist that I like every song of, but with
Okay.
Robbie, I pretty much like every one of his songs, and he's a good-looking bloke, which always helps.
So have you seen him live in concert?
I have, yes. was a few years ago. I went to see him in Manchester. The only time I've ever seen him, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, I bet it was. I bet the atmosphere was fantastic as well.
It was fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so talking about sort of famous people and superstars,
Mm.
have you met any other famous people?
I have actually, yes.
Oh, go on.
I met Jimmy White and Alex Higgins. Back in the 80s, they were playing snooker at the Norbreck Castle, and they came over the road to the Mariners pub and played pool with everybody.
Oh, fabulous. So did you actually get to play pool with them?
I did, yes. I
Did
mean,
you
I've
really?
no, not a chance. I mean, I used to be quite a good pool player. I did actually play in pool teams. So I didn't embarrass myself at all, but no, I didn't win.
That's really interesting because, and forgive me for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Go on.
But if people look at you and see you on sort of a normal day-to-day basis, they wouldn't have a clue that you're a bit of a mean pool player.
Oh, I have trophies in my loft.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't
really.
know that.
Yeah. I
Oh,
I've got trophies. When I was actually married, my husband and I played in pool teams. I'd been playing far longer than that though. He didn't get any trophies. I got all the trophies.
I think that's just desserts. I think that's fair.
I think
So,
you can have. I think I have what's known as a misspent youth. So I learned to play pool fairly young, and then when I was in my 20s, I played in pool teams then, and that carried through, oh, probably into my early mid 40s.
blimey, gosh, right. Well, I didn't know that.
So you've learned something today.
I have. Here's me thinking that I knew everything about you, and obviously I don't. So,
I used to play darts as well in teams.
oh right, that frightens me. Okay, so have you met any other famous people then?
Uh, do you know, it's funny you should ask that. I have actually.
Oh right, go on. Who else?
You remember Bread on the TV, Bread?
Oh, the comedy.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I met the rather good looking Peter Hallett.
Oh right. Oh, where was that then?
In Blackpool, I appeared in one of his films.
Pardon.
I appeared in one of his films.
So you're a film star as well as a pool hustler.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did that happen?
Um, how that happened was my ex sister in law worked at the job centre at the time, and she, as you know, at the job centre, they get all the jobs in, and one came in, they wanted extras for this film. So me and her both turned up and were extras.
And what film was it? Then we can all go and watch.
I think it was called Coasting. I think
I remember that.
I was in it.
Well, oh, there'll be no talking to you now. Be
Who
no
knew?
talking to you.
Who knew?
Indeed, indeed. Right, okay. So one final question, because that's been really insightful, even for me who talks to you on a regular basis. So if you could have one animal, and I know you're not over keen on animals in general, what would you have?
A monkey.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Why a monkey?
Or a flamingo.
I was expecting that, but okay, so tell me about the monkey thing then. Why?
I believe I had a pet monkey when I was a child because I have a picture with me as a child with a monkey on my shoulder.
Okay.
And I was always convinced it was my monkey. But apparently it wasn't. The bubble got burst. Apparently, back in those days, um, walking along Blackpool Promenade, like now we can have donkey rides, in them days you could have your photo taken with a monkey.
Right.
And
So you'd actually have one then if you could.
I might. I might. I always thought it was my pet monkey, you see, so I quite like I quite like monkeys. I quite like monkeys. I like flamingos.
Okay, well we know everybody who knows you like flamingos. The monkey is a revelation. That's a real revelation, and I think you put the snooker, pool, and darts into play. That just adds a whole different dimension as far as I'm concerned. I don't know what to say about the monkey. You've really shocked me there, and I thought I was unshockable. I really did. So, if there was anything else that you wanted people to know about you, that you were prepared to let people know about you, because we all like to keep something of ourselves not hidden, but it's our little thing, isn't it? So, what would yours be if you were prepared to tell somebody something about yourself?
I don't know. Um, I love my boys. I'm immensely proud of them. Um, I'd do anything for anybody if I could. Um, I do my job because I absolutely love it. It's not like a job to me at all.
I think that's probably one of the nicest things. The nicest things, and for me, if I wanted people to know one thing about you, it is that you've got a heart of gold.
Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome. You're very welcome. I'm going to end it there before we get too soppy.
Okay.
So, bye for now.
Bye.